Good morning. Welcome to the second part of our Coffee and Cubes presentation. It's good to see many of you joining today. I'm going to keep this brief with a quick PowerPoint presentation, which won't take too long, and then I'll jump into a live demo of the Cubes Software License Manager solution. My name is Tom Holmes. I'm the Solutions Director here at Tangent. If you've joined one of these series before, welcome back. If it's your first time, welcome. We're going to be talking specifically about our license management software, our new platform, and the latest features that we've just recently released. But I do want to start this presentation off with how we defined licenses and licenses in general. When we started developing the solution, we really thought about the traditional types of licenses that an organization would want to manage in within their environment. Things that have a definitive start and end date, assets that require a renewal either annually or monthly or even multi-year. As customers started using this system, many things can fall under this umbrella of licenses. And whilst we call it a license manager, it's actually something that can incorporate a lot more than just the traditional licenses. We've got customers using it for documentation, like insurance documentation, for example. We have customers using it for keeping track of service contracts, because they have a definitive start and end date. We have organizations even tracking warranties on infrastructure items within their environment, down to actual computers and end user devices, and as they come up for refresh. So whilst it is a license management solution by name, it can also be also be used for many things, and I'll show you why during this presentation here. A quick overview of the actual system itself. So what we wanted to do by designing this piece of software was to bring your data to life a little bit, to show you visual representations of your data, have quick access points throughout the solution that allow you to get to what you need to get to, and to be able to act upon those license records. You have a visually pleasing dashboard, which is profile specific, meaning that multiple users within the organization may have different access rights, therefore show different graphics, and be able to see different license records. And you'll be able to drill down into this data and understand exactly where your records are within the renewal process here. It would also track things that are coming up, that are expired. So perhaps you were late on a payment and you let something lapse. It will show you those, and so you can remediate those records pretty quickly here. And then this idea of centralization, and this idea of creating some sort of centralized ledger that you can easily input information to. You can quickly see what is active, what's pending, what's expired, what documents are assigned to that specific license record, if there's an alert set for that specific license record. We wanted to create something that's very easy to click around at, and to create these to create different policies based on the actual record itself. A big part of our system is the alerts, which will allow you to get notified depending on a specific criteria ahead of time when that renewal is coming. I'm going to go into the different types of alerts that we offer within the Cubes interface, but being able to get a heads up from a centralized location ahead of that expiration date is one of the key benefits to this system. And studies have shown, and I don't want to dwell on this point too much, but if we can get a handle of license management, not only from a business perspective, but also a personal perspective, there is some ROI built in inherently to the system itself. Everything seems to be trending towards subscription. I know for me personally, I'm overwhelmed at home with keeping track of all that, and sometimes just throw my hands in the air and just and as there are so many subscriptions out there. So for business leaders and folks who are in charge of keeping track of all these different contracts and licenses, we wanted to create something that allows ultimate transparency, but ease of use, quick onboarding, and a valuable asset to show where your software or where your contract spend is. So with that, I'm going to show you a live demo here. I'm going to switch screens, so bear with me one moment. I'm going to log into the system using a demo box. You'll notice there are a few components of this login. I actually have MFA or multi-factor disabled. By default, it is enabled. It can be deactivated or activated per user within the organization. So it does have that level of security when you do log in to the Qubes license manager. As I log in here, you're going to see the dashboard. The dashboard is a comprehensive view of all your assets within the system itself. As you can see, these are interactive cubes or predefined filters where I can get access to those license records quickly and easily from here. This is a live view of what's past due, what's coming up for due, all of them. I can add custom cubes here should I want to. Below that, you'll see some graphics or some visual representations of that vendor. These types, all these different boxes here are completely customizable. So you may not necessarily need to track things by department. You may need to do it by manager. You can change the names of these cubes here. But this is slicing your data in a digestible format and allows you to kind of see from a visual perspective where all these licenses fall within these categories. Moving along to the license dashboard or the license ledger, this is a living, breathing document. This is your current license inventory or contract inventory, and it's color-coded in a way that makes it very quick and easy to determine where that specific license is within its life cycle. Typically, you're going to see a lot more greens, hopefully, perhaps a few of these oranges which are renewed, which has an assigned pending child record attached, and then very few of the, in fact, I don't have any at all, of the deactivated, and a few of the expired here. So the license record will show the status, the vendor name, the product name, when it expires, the department that it's associated with. Again, these are editable column headers, so you may define them in different ways. The type of license it is, and the total amount of that license. I can also track the unit cost of that license, but this specific ledger here is going to total those and give you the sum of all those licenses combined. On the right-hand side, under the actions column here, there's a few options that we can do with this, depending on the status of this specific license. An active license, I have the ability to renew it. So when I hit this renew button, it's going to automatically populate and copy over the term and the end date. So you can see that this ends on 4/18/2022. Therefore, the next contract will begin on 4/19/2022, and it's going to copy over the last term associated with it, 36 months in this case. If you decide that I'm not going to do another 3-year term and you're only going to do a 12-month term, you can edit that and it will automatically edit the end date for you. Other items such as invoices and POs are obviously editable, as you can create as a new invoice or a PO number would be different from year to year. Once I hit save here, it's going to create that child record, and you can see that on 4/18/2022, this new contract will take over. This will be archived for historical purposes, and this will turn to green. At the moment, this one is still active, so it's in a renewed state, and this is pending because this isn't live just yet. I can also come in and clone that license. So say, for example, I wanted to, if I changed vendors, if the cost changed, but I still want to keep a historical reference of what this cost me the previous year, I could come in here, clone this license completely, change some of the core components of it, which is unit cost, vendor, and save it. That way, from a historical standpoint, I have the original record stating the original vendor and cost, but have a cloned license associated with that record showing the new cost. That's going to be valuable down the road when we do some cross comparisons of vendor spend as well as product spend throughout the fiscal years. Cubes is also a document depository, so you can upload documents to these license record and keep them in a centralized way and give access rights to these records depending on the roles within your organization. So rather than keeping them on shared drives or on or within email, as so many people do, you can upload a document here and append it to that specific license record for better bookkeeping and to be able to track back on those down the road. Fifthly, you'll see the alerts. So this is a custom alert that you can create depending on the characteristics of that license, or rather when you would like that specific license to give you a notification. And we realize that different licenses will determine, or different license amounts will determine when you would like to get notified. For example, many organizations have specific buying processes, and if they fall within that bucket, dollar amount usually, it will follow a different purchasing process, whether it's 3 quotes, an RFP, some sort of competitive bid, board approval, whatever it might be. You can filter these licenses based on that criteria and create an alert to all those groups of licenses. So you have a custom alert capability built in that you can send to anybody or text to anybody at a cadence that you choose. Additionally, you do get Cubes does offer a default license, a default alert setting, meaning when you originally put a license within the Cubes interface, it automatically gets a 30-day it automatically gets put into a 30-day alert. So once a week, to whomever you want, you will get a report or a notification saying within the next 30 days, these licenses are coming up for renewal. As soon as you either renew them, deactivate them, remove the alert, manually remove the alert, or delete the license, those alerts will automatically be taken off, and you won't need to worry about those licenses again. It's just a running 30-day notification for folks within your organization. And then finally, a deactivate button. So if you're finished working with a vendor, either your contract's expired, the insurance documents are invalid, whatever it might be, we ask you to deactivate that license. It'll be removed from this live view. It'll be put into an archive where you can track back on it at a later date. In fact, you can filter all the deactivated licenses by clicking this button here. But this gives you the ability to keep this ledger nice and clean, but also from a historical context, be able to track back on old contracts, be able to track back on old licenses from a cost comparison perspective, but also a historical perspective. So you can you can see what you were spending with different vendors throughout the years. To add a license manually, we can just add any of these fields, and populate any of these fields here. As I said earlier, these fields are customizable. So perhaps you call them something else, or you need to capture other items. You can change these columns or these names for these capture boxes and customize it to what you think is best. For example, if you don't determine whether they're a maintenance contract or a support contract or a warranty, and you determine, say for example, what budget it comes out of, if you have several budget, or where there's encumbered, what those encumbered dollars are coming from, you can change this to budget or fund or whatever the type is here, and select that. That way, when you start analyzing the data and pulling reports, you can do it based on what you're familiar with and what makes sense to your organization. Alternatively, you can upload documents en masse. There's two ways to do this. You can create we have a template that you can download and then input, and then just go over here and upload it. Within 30 seconds, you'll have your information into the interface, where you can start customizing it and creating alerts and setting up different charts and reports and things like that. Alternatively, you can gather all the information you have and upload it here, and as a service, we will upload information, we'll massage that data and get it into a format that makes sense to you and your organization, and then within 48 hours you'll have all that information in the Cubes interface ready for you to work with and to start setting up all these alerts on. If I move over to the settings panel here, you have the ability to create users based on the role they have. We call it departmental access or role level access. This gives you the ability to assign different subsets of data to certain individuals or different individuals within your organization. So perhaps you have folks in different departments that are just assigned to those specific licenses. You can go ahead and just create a user profile for them, and then whichever licenses are tagged with those specific elements, they'll be able to see. That will still filter into your central ledger. From a global admin perspective, it'll still show there, and then you can determine what rights they have. Typically, they'll have editing rights, but not delete rights, and they'll be able to manipulate their own notifications that are pertinent to their specific department. Moving over to the calendar view here, this is a visual look at your term length. So you'll see here that it's showing me the current 12-month forecast and when things are coming due. And then you can also track back by years. You can track back by months from a historical context. Also, you can go forward by years if you have multi-year deals to see where everything is. You can sort it in various ways. Obviously, you can omit the expired here. But as you look at these licenses, you can see from a visual perspective when they're in fact going to become expired, and then act accordingly. So with that, I will wrap it up. I'm sure a number of you have a number of questions for us. We're actually going to be posting a link in the chat here, which will allow you to fill out a brief survey, and for that, obviously, you will receive a gift card from Starbucks, which we certainly appreciate your feedback. If you do have questions, if you do have comments, certainly if you would like to try this solution out, which we would encourage, please feel free to reach out to me directly at tomh@tangent.com, or through an email that you've received from the solutions department. We'd be happy to answer any questions and go into detail about any of the information that we've shared today. I hope I've provided some value to the 20 minutes here. It was brief. There's a lot more we could get into, but I am conscious of everybody's time. Thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking with everybody very, very soon. Please check out the link in the chat window here. Thank you very much.